Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the special Thanksgiving 2025 edition of Golf and Politics. Rob, I'm thankful for you, buddy. We've been doing this for over a year. It's hard to believe. So many people start podcasts, but they're not consistent. I'm thankful we've stayed consistent. Not always perfect on our consistency, but we have produced well over 75 episodes since we started this thing. And so I'm really thankful for you, man.
I'm thankful for you too, and I think that we're getting better at it. And I'm excited for the next several pods that we're going to release. We've got some great guests in the queue and great content. So I've been having a lot of fun doing this with you, and keep it going.
But one thing I'm thankful for is that my 18, about to be 19-year-old son, Shanbu, he's taken a gap year. He's going to play college football next year, but he's getting bigger, stronger. He weighed in this morning at 191. Did his training. Kid's an absolute freak in the weight room. I know he's going to make some college coach happy next fall when he's going to change positions from cornerback to safety or linebacker. But during this year off, he's working for us. He's been producing the podcasts, managing our social media, and I think he's doing a great job. So, Shanbu, thankful for you, my friend, my son, and my friend. And we're going to let you host this episode. We're going to let you interview us. And so we have a Shotgun 9 Thanksgiving edition. So Shanbu, go ahead and take it over, and Rob and I will do our best to answer the questions.
So before we get into golf and politics, what are you most thankful for this year, personally and professionally?
You want to go first, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go. Personally, I am thankful for my family, most of all. I have way outkicked my coverage with my wonderful wife. We're about to celebrate our 22nd wedding anniversary. And, look, jokingly, she allows me to play a lot of golf. So I'm very grateful that she lets me do that. But more than that, way more importantly than that, the way she's an unbelievable mother to our children. I am oftentimes, not the best example. And yeah, I feel like my 3 children are doing really great. And they don't judge me when I fail, and I appreciate that. And we just have a lot of fun together and enjoy each other's company. So that's great. And professionally, it's been a challenging year in a lot of ways, and I'm thankful that we've held in there as a company. We went through some tough times, had a couple financial tough spots this year, but we've come through it really well, and we're going to have a really good business year. We have a lot of clients, a lot of great clients. The races aren't going to be easy. Probably going to be playing a lot less golf over the next few months, unfortunately. But the good news is we've got a great stable of clients, and I'm pretty blessed with the business that we have.
I'd echo all of that, namely that you've outkicked your coverage. Marina is terrific, and she is absolutely first rate. Great mom and great person, and I'm really lucky to have gotten to know her better on my 3 visits to Tulsa, and spend time with her and your 3 kids and Mulligan the dog. So that's really been a joy, and something that I'm grateful for my own family, largely that everybody is healthy and doing well. The little ones, I've got 3 nephews and a niece, and they're all doing great, and they're good kids, and a lot of fun to be around. So I'm looking forward to seeing them over Thanksgiving. I'm grateful that I am here and healthy relatively. And other than a torn ligament that's going to keep me away from the golf course for a couple months, but
Well, good thing it's winter in DC then, right?
Good thing it's winter in DC. And then business wise, that was the second half of the question. I'm really proud of how we've weathered the storm. After the election, with Republicans winning all 3 branches, and then a year of very little legislative activity. The year started off very rough, and I started to get worried for the first time in a long time. I kind of had those first year jitters that you tend not to get in year 14. but that's normal. That's business. And we stopped the bleed around summertime. And over the last couple months, we've added 4 new clients, which is great. So I'm super excited about that. And it looks promising going into next year, regardless of what happens in the election. But, um, people you'll have no shortage of people who will tell you what a great businessman you are when the money is flowing and everything is going great. But it doesn't take the smartest, best business person to thrive in that setting. You find out what you're made of when you face challenges. And when you do this long enough, there are cycles and ups and downs, and it looks like we're now back on the upswing. So I'm very grateful for that. Grateful to Brad and Shelly and Ann and Aaron and Patty and Chris and the whole team. So it's not just me. They make me look good.
Awesome. What's the best round of golf you played this year? Not necessarily your lowest score, but the round that made you most grateful.
I will say I'll call it more of a memory. I think the first G&P Cup was maybe my favorite experience, and I got boat raced in the first 2 matches on the team side, but I didn't really play well, but I'm most proud of taking 7 people who only knew me and who were good friends of mine and getting them to bond with each other and getting motivated and wanting to play hard for the team. And that's hard to do when you have people from all over the country, different age groups, different interests. But they all love golf and they're all gamers. And I love that they bonded. And so, even though I didn't shoot my best best scores, I was, I'll give myself credit for being a good captain. So I'll say that was a fun experience. It was competitive. I enjoyed playing with Matt. We had a great match that went to the 18th hole, and I thought it was a great course and facility, and just overall the first event was probably my favorite memory of the year, golf wise.
Yeah, I love the GMP Cup, but I'm going to go with the round I'm most grateful for. It's kind of a toss up. It'd be easy for me to say the 78 I shot from the tips where I had a hole in one with you, Shanbu, a couple weeks ago. Probably statistically my best round. I mean, shooting a 78 from those tee boxes is a real good round of golf. But my favorite round, I played the up tees at Southern. The round I'm most grateful for was a 73. I hit 16 greens in regulation at Southern Hills, which I haven't even sniffed coming close to that since. And what was special about it was the first time I really hosted people as a member of Southern Hills. And it's the people I got to host. Maggie Roller, who I go to church with. Maggie's been very influential in helping me with my golf swing and coaching me. And it's actually the first time that I've done a playing lesson with Maggie, but she didn't play. She was just coaching me. So she was actually playing. Maggie, when she was at the University of Tulsa in the early 80s, they won a national championship. And so one of her teammates from that team was in town, and her husband played. And we had a very fun match. It was a perfect weather day. And like everything that Maggie was teaching me just kind of went perfect. It really actually should have been like a 67 or 68. I just didn't make any putts. I 3-putted. I drove the green on 17 and 3-putted from 25 feet. I 3-putted on 11 for double bogey from a 10-foot putt. So like I didn't putt great, should have made some more, but like was totally in control of my golf swing. And it just felt good to play golf that day. And I was very thankful for the round. We had a great dinner afterwards. Marina came and joined us for dinner. It was just a wonderful day.
Awesome. What's one course you played this year that absolutely blew you away? And what made it special?
I would say it's a tie between Shankin Bay in China and Ardfin Estate in Scotland. Um, I would say between the two of them are probably 2 of the toughest tee times to get on the planet. They're both world top 100s. And I was very lucky to get to play both of them with really interesting, fun people. I played Ardfin Estate with Simon Holt, who's runs the World Top 100 list for Golf Magazine and is going to be a guest on the program. And Rich Levine and David Forgan and Tyler, and just a really fun group. And then I went over to Asia back in February or March. We did a 3-country swing in 4 days. We played Tokyo Golf Club in Japan, Shanken Bay in China, and Hazley in South Korea. And Shanken Bay stood out as the best golf course of the bunch. It's a Cork Crenshaw, like in a jungle right on ocean cliffs. And it was just spectacular, and the experience was amazing. Similar to Ardfin on cliffs and on an island in Scotland was just spectacular. If I never see either of them again, I'll never forget a single hole on either course. So they were just really special courses, special groups, fun experiences, and totally different culturally and from anything else that I've had a chance to do. And so having a chance to do both of those within a span of like 3 months was pretty epic. And so this year I played, I think, half as many courses as I did last year in the year of yes. Um, but the quality was up, was really high. And I think I enjoyed it more not living out of suitcases as much as I was last year.
Well, I look forward to us doing a year-end review, and I'm thinking maybe this year we do like a top 20 countdown for each of us, like the top 20 courses we played. I mean, it's been an epic year for me, and I'm just incredibly fortunate to have gotten to play so many great golf courses. Really hard to pick. It's hard to pick one, but I am sitting in West Virginia right now, so I'm going to pick Pikewood as my number one course that blew me away. Being from West Virginia, I've heard of Pikewood, but the thing that's crazy about it is there are people I know that are avid golfers that play the local munis that aren't involved in the going around and playing courses like you and I are. Well, I don't want to put myself in your league, Rob, but I'm trying to get into
We're
your
getting
league.
there. We're getting
But
there.
I'm getting there. But there are people that live here in West Virginia that don't even really know Pikewood exists, and if they've heard of it, they don't know how special it is. It's in the top 100. It's actually in the top 50 in the United States. It's number one course in the state of West Virginia, and is the most magnificent property on a golf course in this state that I've ever been on. And maybe, I mean, it rivals, in my opinion, up there with some of the best, like Pine Valley I've ever played, as far as just unbelievable architecture. And then what really made it special is that Casey Lang, my best friend from college, arranged it. Friend of the program, Dexter Hughes, who will be on the Republican team next year. Dexter played unbelievable. He birdied 5 out of the last 6 holes, I think, at Pikewood to shoot a 70, which is just an unbelievable. It was a +7 differential or something like that, because it was just such a hard golf course. Just the vistas and the views there, I mean, are just out of this world good. And then Charles Wiedebush was our hosting member, who did not play with us, but I had to be on property. And there was only 8 people golfing on the course for the entire day. It was in May. There was only 8 of us. We ordered our lunch before we teed off. We get done with 9. Our caddy said, "Hey, go grab your lunch." And we're thinking we're just going to go grab these sandwiches and come back out to 10 and tee off. We get into the clubhouse, and Charles was like, "Sit down. We'll get you some drinks." We had a couple beers, and we sat there for over an hour while Charles told us the entire history of the club, how he was involved in helping design. It was amateur architects that built this place, and Charles was a part of that. And his stories and the hospitality that he showed us really made it an unbelievably special day, and one I'll never forget. And I hope I can get back there
Did the
again
caddy
next year.
did your caddy tell you on the third green you can see 4 states?
Yeah,
West Virginia, obviously you're in it. Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Maryland.
it's wild. Yeah, it's an unbelievable golf course, and I can't recommend it enough. So,
Wow, great. Is there a thankful for this, even though it hurt golf moment from this year? Like a blow up hole or a humbling lesson that ended up making you better?
yeah, absolutely. Let me take this one first. I want to echo everything that Rob said about the Golf and Politics Cup. It was a great success, and it's literally a catalyst for moving this podcast forward. I think there's going to be more events like that in the future. We're going to expand it next year, even though we haven't set the exact dates yet, but we're going to go to a full Ryder Cup size, 12 people on a team. It was awesome. Great Bull, unbelievable. Um, I was part of boat racing, Rob, in the first match. Was great. We won 7-6, so I'll take that as like a plus. The blow up, though, and what really hurt was losing to Rob. Rob played well. I mean, I think he shot 74, 75. I should have beat him. I had the match in my hands. I was one up with 4 to play, and I feel like not taking anything away from Rob at all. But Rob opened the door for me multiple times, even with me hurting myself. I topped my tee shot on 16, just straight up topped my tee shot and fought back to make a bogey and Rob 3 putts. So, I mean, it's like I still have this match in my hands. I knock it stiff on 17 and I miss a 7 foot putt and Rob makes a great par. So not taking anything away from Rob, but I mean, I got to make a 7 foot putt on 17 to go one up going into 18. And then on 18, I topped my tee shot again. 2 top tee shots in the last 3 holes. And I don't believe it was nerves. I felt good about my golf swing. I didn't feel like I was second guessing. I just hit 2 tops down the stretch and it really hurt. Um, in some ways it was good because like I hung right with Rob and I had chances. So I felt proud of that, but also incredibly disappointed that I couldn't finish the job. And at the very least get a half point in that match. And so Rob did me a great favor. He signed the winning golf ball and gave it to me. And it's sitting in my office and I look at it every day as a little bit of motivation. Get 1% better every time I go practice because I plan on whooping his ass next year at the GMP Cup. So
Bring
there we
it.
go. Yeah.
I had a different assessment of the match. I felt everything that could go your way, the first 9 holes went your way, and I couldn't make anything. And then I had a boring 36. And then on the back 9, the only putts I made were on 17 and 18 when it counted. If I'd have made that 3-footer, I'm not so sure that match would have gone to 18. I forget exactly where it was.
Yeah,
But
we were tied on that hole and we both bogeyed, so we went into 17 tied.
yeah, I just never I mean, I just couldn't get anything going. I mean, I played solid. I was hitting fairways and greens and wasn't making big mistakes until missing a short one on 16. Um, but it was just kind of a frustrating day because I kept giving myself looks. I had looks all day, and putting is usually a strength of my game, and I couldn't make a damn thing. And so it was just like nagging at me that the match kept.
Mhm.
You played great. You played great.
What about do you have a hurt moment from the year that you learned from that you're thankful for?
2 of them. The Diebold Cup and the MG Cup. Diebold Cup, um, I played okay. I was playing really well going into it, and I ended up getting points, but like I was the hero last year and played out of my mind at Oakmont. And this year I just didn't have my best stuff and I kind of gutted it out. But there were like more expectations on me this year. And I don't think I really delivered what I was capable of. And we, as a team, lost. So I don't really care about any points I got, but like I could have done a better job. And then MG Cup was just, we've had 14 of them. As you said, that's dynasty status. I think I just took on too much this year and had a lot of shit to deal with off the course. And I let it affect the time I had. And instead of enjoying my favorite week of the year, it was just nothing but like stress and annoyance. And, I regret that. Now, I'm 13-1 on these as far as like having a great time and it being successful. And it was still successful because as long as the other people have fun and I get a couple clients out of it and see all my friends and family, it's a win. But like, I didn't even get to play and that sucks. So hopefully if we do it again, I will play and relax and have more fun and not worry about just stupid shit.
Golf forces you to spend 4 hours with people you disagree with. What's something you've learned about the other side from long conversations on the course?
You want me to go? I'll take
Sure.
it. Um, One is that first and foremost, you have a uniting factor that is golf and loving golf. And so the most important thing when you're spending time with people who disagree with you is to enjoy the golf. Don't let anything supersede that, and be respectful. And I tend to find conversations on the golf course to be far more respectful and productive than I do, um, you know, at dinner or even on a podcast. Because you're out there walking, you're taking it in, you're not at work. It can be work, um, but you're just tend to be in a more relaxed setting. Then you also start to realize that if you take the time to listen to what somebody has to say before you start with the response, and it's easier said than done. One, you might learn something, or two, at worst, you get a perspective that you don't often hear, and you start to realize that we do have a lot more in common than we think. Um, you know, Regardless of what you see in negative advertisements,
Mhm.
um, we both love the country. We both love our country. We both love our families. We both want to be in good health and for the people we love to be in good health. Um, and we both care about the future of not just our families and communities, but of the country. And when you approach it from that, in that framework, then it doesn't matter what political. And golf can be a great conduit to, um, figuring out, all right, how do we take these different perspectives and views and histories and values and perspectives and channel them into something productive? And I think the golf course is a perfect place to try and do that. You don't need to litigate every detail and fight everything to the death. Um, but you just always constantly and relentlessly have to focus on moving forward, and figuring out, all right, how do we turn something good out of this? And it mirrors golf. You're going to make double bogeys. You're going to hit a ball in a creek. You're going to lose a ball. You're going to have a three putt every now and then. And all that matters is what you do next. Mike McGetrick always talks about the reaction line. There's the planning line and the reaction line. I think he says it somewhat differently, but you know, when you get up to the ball, you've made your decision and you commit to it. Right after you hit it, you can either be happy or sad, but the minute you walk past that line, we're 100% focused on the next shot and how to turn a potential 7 into a 5, right? And that's got to be the mindset. And then when you putt out, getting to the next tee and focusing 100% on the shot in front of you and making the score be as good as that score can be for that day. And some days, the best score I can shoot might be a 77. Some days it might be an 80, but that 77 can quickly turn into an 84 if I lose my shit. So it's just relentlessly focusing on the next shot and stopping the bleed before you can get back on offense. And politics is the same way. Sometimes, like this year, I got to take my lumps. I don't, I don't have the influence I had a year ago. Um, so I got to figure out, how do you stay relevant and provide value to people who are paying you. And that has resulted in me working with Republicans more because they have the power and influence. And so there are a lot of times and conversations, especially if I'm working with somebody that's younger with less experience, where I can provide some counsel to them on how to deal with their party's leadership or leadership in general or procedure or the regulatory front, where I've seen this movie before. And so there's a lot of value if they're willing to listen, if they're willing to participate. If they don't want to, then that's their prerogative. They don't have to. But I think golf and politics are actually very, very similar in how you gauge people and how they react to adversity.
Well, I would tell you that one thing that's clear to me, and I think it always has been, but as I get older, it's even more so, is that politics is important. Politics is not, it's not ultimate. It's not the end all be all. The relationships that you have mean a lot more. My faith is much more important than who wins these offices. And here's what's funny. Some of the people that I've spent like Charles McCall was former Speaker of the House in Oklahoma. Our firm spent 12 years working for Charles McCall. We spent 8 years working for the House caucus while he was Speaker and killing for him and making sure that his people got elected and his agenda got done. Now it's 2025 going into 2026. I'm working against Charles McCall, and I don't want him to be governor. And we're going to have a rough and tumble campaign, which I still love Charles McCall, but guess what? Like, we're not going to be as close as we once were. It is what it is. It's not going to be ultimate. Some of my greatest allies this year that I'm working with on multiple races that are important to us were people that we ran campaigns against 7 years ago, and we were arch enemies, and now we're allies. Like, politics makes strange bedfellows, is what they say, and we always tend to think in the moment that this election is the most important election in the history of mankind, and it's just not. It never is. We say that as political consultants and candidates because this is how we get people ginned up about it. But it's just never the most important thing. And you know what? A decade from now, I mean, Donald Trump's going to be close to 90 years old. He might not even be alive a decade from now. Like, you just don't know. And the world looks a certain way right now because of the leadership we have there. A decade from now, it's not going to look the same. And you know what? A decade from now, Rob, we're still going to be playing golf together. I hope. We're still in. And I also have just had to put it aside that, like, you and I don't agree on everything. That's okay. You get if I looked at all your Instagram stories and took that personally, I can't believe Rob said that. I'd be a miserable freaking human being. Like, you're entitled to that opinion. I'm sure when I post certain things, you're like, oh my God, Matt's a moron. I can't believe you posted that. It's okay though. I don't think that we should take those things, internalize it, and keep it from recognizing the humanity in each other. And like you said, you stop and listen. You might learn something from time to time, even with somebody that you disagree with on a lot of other issues.
I've found that most of our interactions, I don't think we've ever had an argument on the golf course. Uh, I find when you're in person with people that do this for a living, and I'm not exaggerating, at least half of my friends in this town are Republicans and have been friends for 2 decades almost.
Right.
Um,
Well, when we were in Austin together, it was kind of funny. I'm with 3 Democrat lobbyists who've worked on campaigns plenty through the years. And all as you're listening to my calls dealing with Republican primary bullshit, like, you're like, you used to deal with the same Democrat primary bullshit. So
I
it
mean,
is
yeah,
what it is.
the worst fights in my career have been with liberals, um, labor unions, environmental groups, far left groups that hate the word compromise the same way that far right groups hate the word
It's a
compromise.
lot harder to fight with somebody you agree with 95% of the time, but usually it might not even be about policy disagreements. It's just somebody wants to be in power and so does somebody else. And you got to find a way to get your guy to the
Yeah,
finish line.
but I think when folks like us who live this and work it play golf together, have dinner together, we talk more about the game and
Yeah.
the game, the business, and the process than we do the underlying values. Like when we get sucked into the debates that we force on other people,
Right.
like,
Yeah. We usually stay away from those things,
it's like,
which is interesting.
well, it's like, well, and with our interview with the president of Signal that everybody on watching will see at some point. Um, we got into some of the, you know, personal debates, the cultural debates, even though all three of us were able at various points in the interview to pull back and say, like, yeah, I hated those ads. I couldn't stand it, but they worked. And I see why you did it. Um, because, you know, I've approved ads that, when I first saw them appear on a TV, I was like, ugh. I don't know. Yeah, that one's
Yeah.
pushed a little bit. I mean, I could tell some real doozies that I've signed off on. That
You know
were
what's weird? The older I get, I
rich.
wake up in the middle of the night at least twice a week with like ad ideas for either one of my or worse is I wake up with, oh my God, that's going to be an ad against one of my candidates. Like this is what I would do if I was trying to beat us, you know?
Well, the thing is, like, you play to win, and our job is to win. And the one thing I always tell candidates in races that I have nothing to do with it, because if I'm involved, they better listen to me. In races I have nothing to do with is like, look, all the people giving you advice, when this race is all said and done, whether you win or lose, they're going to be fine. They're going to go get big jobs or more clients and make millions of dollars and do just fine. You have to live with this race.
Yeah. You need to be the CEO of your campaign. Like
You need to be the
yeah.
CEO of your campaign, and you are going to be talked into some things that make you feel uncomfortable. And it's going to be easier to approve because they will have data behind it. And it will be easier to approve because your opponent will say terrible things about you or a spouse or a business partner or whatever the hell it is in every race. You've got to live with the campaign you run, especially if you lose, because you're always going to look back and say, that was beneath me. I wish I hadn't done that. And if you win, you just keep doing it. But that's
Yeah.
that's the experience I've had, because I know in a few of the races we threw some really low blows and ended up having to explain the ads. And whenever you're explaining ads, the ad didn't work.
Yeah.
And I've always felt that the best negative ads, comparative ads, the best negative ads have to be two things. They got to be true, because then it hits. When
Mhm.
it's true, it hits. If it's consistent with what people are seeing and hearing with their own eyes, it'll hit. And the best ones are funny.
Yeah.
Like, you, if you got a negative ad that doesn't seem mean, like, it could be cruel as shit. But like, if it's true and it's funny,
Yeah. No question. All right, Sean, let's keep it going here.
Plenty of Americans are nervous about talking politics at Thanksgiving. So, what's one practical rule you'd give families to keep peace at the table?
hire me. They can pay me. I'll fly in. I'll gladly take on the debate with your Uncle Larry. Even if he's a Democrat, I'll play the Republican for fun, just to keep it interesting. I think that with Thanksgiving, watch football
Yeah.
and keep your mouth full of food instead of shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's not doing any good. You're not going to change a family member's mind. Enjoy the food, have some drinks, laugh, and watch football. Unfortunately, we always get stuck watching the Lions and the Cowboys. They need to mix that up. That's a tradition that needs to change. It's stupid. Um, but and root against the Ravens. That's usually a good start.
Yeah, I would argue there's a lot more interesting things to talk about than politics at the Thanksgiving table. And like Rob said, you're not going to convince a family member that disagrees. However, I am interested to know, like when families are sitting around the Thanksgiving table and they go around, what are you thankful for this year? I wonder how many people on my side will say Donald Trump. I'm sure it's a lot. And you're going to have some families where it's everybody around say, oh, yeah, I'm thankful for the president. I'm sure. And if you're sitting there as not a Trump supporter, that's where I'm sure there could be some fireworks. So I'd love to be a fly on the wall for some of those conversations, I guess.
I don't think there's anyone in my family that is willing to go toe to toe with me. Uh, they know I will gladly take the bait.
Yeah, yeah. All right, what's next, Shanbu?
What's one political leader from the other party that you are quietly thankful for, and why?
Okay, I've got a couple. And Matt's not gonna like this answer. Um, I think Adam Kinzinger and Lynn Cheney showed incredible courage. whether you think their position on January 6th and Donald Trump is right or wrong, they gave up their careers and their friendships and family members um, to do what they did. Not because they hated Republicans and loved Democrats, just the opposite. Because they did love their party and they do love their country. And in their view and in their core, they did the right thing. And I think a similar thing could be said today for Marjorie Taylor Greene, which a month ago, I never thought in a million years I would say it. You know, she just, for the time being at least, tossed her career away on principle. And anybody can think she's nuts. You can disagree with her conclusions. You can be mad at her. But in today's world, you see less and less and less of what the three of them did. And so, even though I disagree with probably 99% of their votes in their congressional careers on two issues that I find very important, they showed some balls and they were willing to lose their jobs to do it. And I am thankful for that.
A lot I could say about that, but just like I advise people to keep their mouth shut at Thanksgiving, I'll be the same. Man, I'm just going to say John Fetterman.
I've got a lot I could say about that. I'm worried he may have hit his head a little too hard. I hope he's okay.
What's one thing in politics you hope will be better by next Thanksgiving?
Blue wave, baby. Let's we need a check in the Congress really bad. Not just as a Democrat, but as a country. There's a lot of stuff going on right now between whether it's the ballroom or shooting boats or this Russia-Ukraine farce of a deal, corruption in DOJ and DHS, like whether you completely disagree with all of that, it is the role of the United States Congress to hold oversight hearings and to shine a light and to issue subpoenas and to call leaders before the committee and ask the tough questions. Just going on Fox News or Newsmax or conservative podcasts, that's PR. Journalism is the questions you don't want to answer. And I really hope by next Thanksgiving that the Democrats have had a big night in the House and hopefully the Senate. And I also hope that we can stop this just daily, incessant, constant political circus. It's just exhausting. Like, I know that we're all part of it and we live in it, but I've had enough of it. I want to focus more on what's next.
I obviously don't hope for a blue wave. I'll just keep it short here. I hope in Oklahoma, I hope Gettner Drummond is governor. I really believe we need a leader in this state that's going to tackle the problems that plague us. And I believe Gettner's exhibited unbelievable leadership as our attorney general, and I hope he becomes governor. Going to work really hard for that outcome. It's not going to be easy, but going to work very hard towards it. From a federal level, this is a big hope, and it's not going to happen by next Thanksgiving. Like, I'm just realistic. But if I could be a Pollyanna for one moment, it would be great if Congress could actually pass spending bills and pass a budget and actually show some kind of fiscal restraint. I think it's something Rob and I can both agree on, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, unfortunately, for reasons that we've outlined ad nauseum on other episodes. But at some point, I'm hoping that Congress does their job. So
I agree with that, and I hope Gettner wins because you've said a lot of nice things about him to me, and I want him to win for
well,
you.
if you want him to win, quit saying that.
And there's
You need to badmouth him.
And there's no Democrat in the race. So
there is. There's Cindy Munson. She's the floor leader of the, but it's
I'm sure
Democrats have no chance. So it'll be decided in the primary.
I'm sure Cindy
All
is
right.
a robust challenge.
She'll be helpful for raising money after the primary to
Oh,
refill the coffers, I guess.
perfect.
All right, is this number 9, Shambu?
Yep. Final question. What's one golf goal you're setting for yourself before next Thanksgiving? It could be a score, a course you want to play, or something about who you want to play with.
Hmm. Well, I'd like to play more with Matt and the G&P Cup guys and the MG Cup guys. I I'd really like to just play in more member guests with my friends at their clubs and host them at my club. Travel wise, the only glaring missing piece in my golf resume would be a big Australia New Zealand trip. You need to do that in the winter because our winter is their summer. And I won't be able to play golf for the next couple months. So I don't know if that's going to happen this year. And if we have a good election in November, I'll be really busy next winter. Um, so I think just get more consistent, stay healthy. Number one, stay healthy. And number two, play more with friends. And I think it's always fun to go play at your buddies' clubs and spend some time with them and their families. And more so than just checking off boxes and, you know, living out of a suitcase.
Yeah, I want more content on the golf course for the podcast. I think that is where this is going. I mean, these kind of long form interviews will still happen, but I think on course content will create buzz and excitement around our product. So I obviously want to do more on course content, which means I'd like to be better. I want to get to scratch. Sniffed it multiple times this year. I get down to a 1, and it's like playing whack-a-mole. A couple things pop up, and hanging in a 2.8 right now. And it's not about the number, actually. It's just I want to be a golfer that can go to an amateur tournament or a member guest as a scratch and just compete at that level. That would be a lot of fun for me. Um, and from a personal standpoint, I want to be a really good host. I'm incredibly fortunate to be a member at Southern Hills. Sometimes pinch myself, how does this happen? But I want to be able to take people and show them the time of their life when they come, and just make sure they leave really excited to come back again and to bring a friend. I just want to be a good host. Rob, you're a good host. I've played with some great hosts. I've also played with some really poor hosts at other clubs. And the host makes a huge difference on, the enjoyment of the experience. And that goes too. Like, my biggest downfall right now that I need to work on is I'm playing with Shanbu. That's when I get the most frustrated. It's like I feel like I can let it all out because I'm with my son, and that's probably the worst thing. I should be the best host for my own
Well,
son when we're playing. So
the,
I got
the
some personal things I need God to deal with, help me with, from a mentality standpoint out there on the golf course. But we're
you're
gonna have
good.
fun.
I think the key to being a good host is, and it's not always the best key to playing your best golf, is caring more about the time that the other three people are having than what you shoot or whether or not you win the match. And so I've kind of reached a point where I find myself more interested in the architecture and the experience and cool things about it and the conversations I'm having than the golf. Now that ebbs and flows. There are times where like I'm really into like my game and I care about what I'm doing. But
Mhm.
part of being a host is, you know, not as much worried about your own game and more worried about the day that everybody else is having is I think really important.
I would argue that the beers we had at Southern Hills after the round was incredibly enjoy it had a lot of I had a lot of joy from that. And we were kind of rushed because Keegan had to go catch a flight, but we were able to spend about an hour, have some beers there, and talk about the architecture of the we had just got first of all, you couldn't even play because you hurt your wrist. You tried on the first tee, clear wasn't happening, so you just walked. And then Keegan and Phil and myself played terrible. None of us broke 90. I mean, plus it was really windy and cold, but the appreciation we had for the architecture, the discussion of the holes, the camaraderie that golf brings over a couple beers, and in the clubhouse, to me, that was the most enjoyable part of the day and something that I'll never forget.
I think one of the big noticeable changes, positive changes with your game over the last 2 years is, when we were at Prairie Dunes, or we played, some last year and even early this year, um, when you were having a bad day, it was really obvious. And you've really become more refined in how you look playing on the course, the way you walk on the course, set up, shot, post shot. It looks more professional. And obviously your play is improved. You're, hitting it better off the tee, mid irons are better, short game's really noticeably better, but it looks better. And it reminded me, I had a pro when I was, I don't know, probably a teenager. And he said, you know what? If you're going to tell people I'm teaching you, you need to look like you know what you're doing. Even if you hit a good shot, you got to look like a pro. So if you hit a bad shot, you got to look like a pro. Like, you got to look like you know what you're doing. And like, one example he gave me was, he's like, you're a good putter, but he's like, on long putts, you stroke the ball and then you immediately like stand up and watch it and kind of like slouch toward the hole. He's like, watch a PGA Tour event this weekend. How many pros do that? And so I actually, for the first time, sat down and watched, and they hit their putt, they stay in the pose, and they watch that thing, whether it's 80 feet long, in position. And they walk to the hole with their chin up. They walk down the fairway with their chin up. And so that was the first time I even thought of,
Yeah.
like, how do I look to my competitors? How do I look to people that are just casually watching me? Like, if I go to even Top Golf with people who know nothing about golf, can they tell I'm a good player? And you look like a much better player this year. I mean, I can tell you've been taking lessons and working at it. So keep
Yeah,
doing
it's
what.
honestly what I've worked on more than anything, because it's not as if when I was playing, that when we played at Prairie Dunes, I shot 89. I played terrible. I shot 66 the day before. So it's not like I had a bad golf swing. It's that posture, setup, those things I took for granted. And when I got off, man, was I off. And by working on posture and setup and thinking through a routine, my bad shots have been eliminated some. And so, like, if you look at all the scores from this year and last, my handicap, I'll probably end the year maybe a stroke less than I think last year. Maybe ended at a 4. Let's say this year I ended a 3. But if you look at how my bad rounds are, a lot of 84s and 85s instead of 92s and 93s, I've cut down on some of those blow up holes, which has really been more. It's more fun to play golf when you're not, out of the hole making a 7 or an 8 multiple times around, which
The,
I was doing a lot last year.
the only differences between a scratch or plus golfer and a 3, 4, or 5 handicap is that the scratch or plus golfer is more meticulous with the fundamentals. It's not rocket science. BPGA,
It's not about making more birdies either. It's just
well,
about keeping the ball in play and making aggressive swings to conservative targets.
yeah, like we miss better. It's not that a scratch golfer's best shots are any better than the 5 handicap's best shots. The 5 handicapper can hit most of the shots I can hit. I just hit them more often,
Yeah,
and my misses aren't as bad. So it's nail the fundamentals and miss better. That's it. That's it.
yeah.
I mean, it's not that hard, and get your head the hell out of it.
Well, Shanbu, thank you for interviewing us. Thank you for all you're doing to produce the podcast. And thank you. We're very thankful to everybody that listens to the Golf and Politics podcast and the support that you give us. Please go to golfandpolitics.com, subscribe for our email newsletter. Anywhere you get social media or content, follow us, subscribe there. And Rob, happy Thanksgiving. And actually, we're recording tomorrow morning. So I'll see you in the morning for our
And
next
happy
recording.
Thanksgiving to you too. And I'm thankful to Shanbu. And in fact, instead of a gap year, we should just go ahead and line him up in the secondary for the Steelers. We need it.
he, he couldn't have done any worse than Galen Ramsey and everybody yesterday. So
I mean, I'm ready for Parker to go in the game.
that's one complaint from my father, who's not a Steelers fan. He says, I like your podcast, but that other day when you and Rob were glowing about the Steelers beating the Colts, he goes, I could have done without that. So
we got to take our good moments when we get them.
Yeah, they've been few and far. I have a feeling they're going to be few and far between for the rest of the year. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Hey.